Hey guys, welcome back to another awesome video. I'm Matt from Complete Prospecting. Today we're talking dry blowers or dry washers. That's my best American accent. For those in America, they call them dry washers. We're going to talk about this one. It's an Australian made one. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll check it out. We'll tell you all about it, what it does, show you how to use it, and yeah, go from there. All right guys, so let's start from the beginning. Let's explain, well, what a dry blower is and how it works, okay? Basically what this is for is getting the fine gold and small nuggets out of the dirt, sand, ground, whatever you'd like to call it, okay? Basically what happens is you put a shovel of dirt goes on here. You've got this mesh that keeps obviously the bigger rocks and stones that can't get processed in through the riffles and the machinery down below. Keeps all them out. So you shovel it on, all the bigger stuff rolls out, the finer stuff goes through into here. So kind of into the hopper, I suppose you could call it. All the finer dirt goes into here. This is basically a gate that you can adjust the flow of how much material is coming into the dry blower. Okay, so you can adjust that. But basically all the finer material goes through there, and then down the bottom it comes out through here, through that gate and into your tray. Okay, so in this riffle tray we've got 3 90-degree riffles, so they're straight up, and 2 return riffles that cap back over to really trap any of the fine gold that gets through. But basically the air comes through. This is a really fine mesh, so the air comes through this and creates like a cushion of air. So that air keeps the sand and filters through the sand or the material. The material then overflows down these and out the bottom. So with the air coming through it and the vibration that's going on, we know that gold's really heavy compared to the other material that it's normally in. So gold will sink to the bottom and get trapped by these riffles, okay? So what will happen is the gold will settle up against each of these riffles, and the other material will flow over each riffle and make its way out the bottom. That's basically how it works. So I'll just show you underneath this tray. So it just unhooks like that. And if we slide that out. So in here we have a fan, okay? So all the air comes up through this. Now what this fan does is it creates vibration and makes this shake, and that helps all of the material move and flow more freely to allow the gold to sink to the bottom. Now on this fan, it's got a counterweight, and that's what makes it vibrate, okay? So as that spins around, you can see there that it's making the tray shake, even from me just doing that, okay? So as the air comes through this fan, the fan spins and spins a counterweight, which makes this shake and helps with the processing of the material, okay? So depending on how much vibration you want, you can adjust that counterweight in or out, but where it is now set perfectly. You can see the bottom of the tray here. So as you can imagine, all the air is just pushing through this really, really fine mesh. This is really fine, okay? So dust isn't even getting through that. It's only air getting through that. So you can imagine as it sits there, the air comes through underneath and allows the material to travel down. The next thing is the blower, okay? So obviously you can see we've got this air tube, flexible air tube that comes in. So we've got a petrol 4-stroke blower. So this is a Makita 4-stroke. This thing is awesome. I didn't use this thing for a year and it sat in my backyard. Fuel in it, oil in it, didn't touch it. Went out the back the other day, primed the fuel, pulled it, and it started second pull. You can't ask for much more than that. So highly recommend this. This thing is awesome. But basically, this just pumps air through this tube up, and that facilitates everything that's happening with the dry blower. So one of the things with a dry blower of this size, you might be asking, well, what are you going to use it for? So obviously you're going to use it to collect gold. That's what it's made for. But in what situation would you use it? So most of the time these are used for sampling. Okay, so if you have a lease or something like that, you can take this out there and run some of your material through it, and you can work out what grade the gold is per ton, in case you're looking at getting a bigger dry blower or machinery through it and processing that kind of dirt. Or if you're doing a pushing and you're scraping off the top layers of dirt, that dirt you might want to process and run through a dry blower. You can use something like this to, if you measure out what you're feeding through it, you can work out how many grams to the ton, or a unit that's going to allow you to work out if it's profitable for you to process that material, okay? You obviously probably could, if you had really high grade dirt and you loved shoveling sand, or if you had a small excavator or a dingo or something like that, you could probably, you know, make some okay money shoveling sand through this. If there was enough gold in the material, you could definitely make it worth it, okay? But they're also a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun shoveling the dirt through this, and then we'll show you a couple of methods of refining it and processing it after it's come through this. But it's a heap of fun playing around with it anyway, so great fun from that aspect. One more thing, this is an Australian made dry blower. So Ryan, or ROE, Ryan Oldfield Engineering, he makes them over east. We're in Western Australia, he makes them over east himself. These are 100% Australian made. I think that's awesome. And for me anyway, I pay respect to anyone that makes products like these, that puts the time and effort into coming up with something like this. I think it's fantastic. So check him out. I think it's called the Redback dry blower. We'll put a link in the description below, so check that out and you can have a look at that. So guys, one more thing I just want to cover before we fire it up is the way we've got this set up in relation to where the pile is. So where we are here today, the wind is blowing this way, kind of towards the camera. So when I'm shoveling the sand in, the dust is going to blow that way, not into my face, which is awesome. The second thing you have to remember is to put your blower upwind, okay? You don't want to have that downwind. You don't want any dust getting into it. We sometimes, we've got the bucket there, sometimes we'll sit it up on the bucket even just to get it off the ground, so it's just not getting any sand or dirt into it like that. So when you are using it, just think about positioning. You don't want sand in that, you don't want sand in your face when you're shoveling. So let's fire it up and we'll show you how it goes. So you can see here already, just with the air running through it, you can see the vibration, how much that's vibrating, which helps process material and feed it through the top, but also helps process the material that's coming through the bottom. So guys, you can see here that you can imagine the heavier gold particles getting trapped down the bottom there, and the lighter stuff is making its way, whether it gets blown off or it makes its way down over these riffles and out the bottom. Okay, so just to give you an idea, as you're shoveling, you will need to come around this side and move this stuff out of the way as well, so that it doesn't build up and then back up the flow of the stuff coming out as well. Okay, so you just need to keep an eye on that. But other than that, you can keep shoveling. So you can see here, this is backed up too high, and so it's slowing down all material that's coming out from the end. So you need to keep an eye on that so you can keep the flow running well. All right guys, so just with the dry blower, there's three things that can affect how well this is going to run, okay? So firstly is the input feed, so how much material is coming through the bottom there, down into your tray. Okay, so obviously if this is open, there's going to be a heap of material coming through there, which will then, it won't kind of process and overflow kind of riffle to riffle. It'll be too much material and it will just flow straight out the bottom, okay? The second thing that you can adjust is the counterweight that we talked about before. And the third thing is obviously how much air is coming through the machine, okay? So you need to get the right balance, and it also does depend on what material you're processing. So this stuff is drier and finer than what we were processing earlier today. And so we had to adjust the feed in a little bit to cope with that. So you will need to adjust it and tune it in to suit what type of ground you're processing. But they're the three things that you'll need to adjust and have a play with. So in terms of what you want to see coming out the bottom, you can see here, this is only basically the coarse material. There is some fine stuff that's blown out and landed down here as well. But really what you want to see is the more coarse material and have the fine stuff blow out. So this is a bit mixed because we've been adjusting the feed as it's been going. But yeah, that's really what you want to have a play around with. So hopefully you learned something and enjoyed this. We're going to do another video about how we process the material once it comes out of the riffle tray. We're going to show you some panning and a recirculating sluice as well. So that'll be in the next video. If you like this video, smash that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.